In a town in Hong Kong, people are going on about their lives. One man is talking over the phone while gambling. Outside a man, Shun narrowly avoided getting hit while crossing the road. The bus driver shouted at him. Shun stares at him, but the driver yells at him to move out of the way and resumes driving. Elsewhere, another man, Phi, is buying a drug. Phi then tells the seller that the drug is not working for him and asks if they have anything else. At the same time, Shun ended up boarding that same bus he dodged earlier. When he saw the driver, he decided to get off. The driver also told him to wait for the next one because they are full. Shortly after, another bus come in, and he gets on that one. Meanwhile, Phi tried another drug and decided to buy it. He told the dealers that he is only buying one pack. That made them angry, and they told him he owed $3,000. Instead of paying, he bolted. Elsewhere, a couple boarded a bus. On the streets, a man named Yu Ji-chi is talking to his girlfriend. As he is walking, Phi runs past him. Ji-chi is talking about the plans he has with his girlfriend, but she canceled on him. He tries to convince her to meet him, but she refuses to budge. So he decides to go back to Tai Po. During his escape, Phi leapt onto a bus, the same one Shun had boarded earlier. Shortly after, a couple got on. They began arguing, and the woman repeatedly told the man to leave. Eventually, both of them exited the bus. After they got off, Ji-chi boarded. Finally, the bus was full and ready to depart. As the bus moved, the people inside noticed a horrific crash occurred nearby. 2 bodies lay bleeding on the street. The passengers on the bus passed the scene, stunned. It was the same couple who had left the bus earlier. Despite this, the bus continued on. The passengers interact with each other. Suddenly, the driver announces the last guy who got in hasn't paid. He is referring to Phi, but Phi is asleep. The driver decides to make him pay when he gets off. Meanwhile, the other 2 passengers are looking at a woman, Lavina, as she plays Candy Crush. The driver then tried calling his brothers. He began explaining that his colleague Lam's wife had given birth, so he was covering his shift. He also mentioned Lam giving him 6 months to repay a debt. As this was happening, Phi woke up. Meanwhile, another passenger spat out the window. Suddenly, the call got disconnected and the driver kept yelling, trying to reach the person on the other end. At the same time, a couple began complaining because they couldn't reach the person they were going to visit. They assumed he was purposely avoiding them and grew angry about having made the entire trip for nothing. Another woman, Yuki, who had been texting her boyfriend, noticed he'd stopped replying. She sent him a voice message, wondering where he'd gone. Meanwhile, some passengers remarked that the road seemed unusually quiet. Others argued it was always like that. They speculated it might be because it was late and there was a Premier League match that day. 4 students got off when the bus reached their stop. One of them suddenly became very ill, and the others helped him back to their dorm to take care of him. They laid him on the couch, trying to figure out what might be causing his sickness. Realizing they needed help, they scattered to search for assistance. Meanwhile, the bus reached Tai Po. The driver asked if anyone was getting off. Phi, confused, asked if they had arrived in Suan Wan yet. To his shock, Ji-chi told him they were already in Tai Po. Tai Po? Oh, God. The rest of the passengers began calling friends and family, but no one answered. One man, Wong Man Fa, suspects something is up. He looked out the window and noticed something odd. The entire city seemed empty. Only their bus was moving. Ji-chi suggested trying the radio, and Wong quickly went to the front. He tried turning on the radio. Nothing worked. Shun said he'd already tried calling the police, but no one responded. He told them the world outside seemed to have vanished. Wong remembered a truck that had been driving beside them before it suddenly disappeared when they entered Lion Rock Tunnel. The driver realized his brothers stopped responding at that exact moment too. Wong pieced things together and came to a chilling conclusion: they must have crashed inside the tunnel. He believed everyone on the bus had died in that moment. They were no longer among the living. One woman brought up the couple who had argued and gotten off earlier. She pointed out that those were the same two who later died in the crash. To her, it wasn't a coincidence. She felt their fate had already been sealed the moment they stepped onto the bus.
The
passengers ignored her, but she kept talking. She told them she tells fortunes at the Temple Street Market and is also an insurance broker. She then began reading fortunes for the other passengers as well. Tension grew among the passengers. Some wanted to leave the bus and take their chances outside. Wong warned against it, saying it wasn't safe. Phi keeps telling him that he is not from Taipo and he needs to leave. Gigi asks how it is safe to stay in the bus. Others also chimed in, saying that the outside is safe since there are no people or cars, but others suggest splitting up is dangerous. Eventually, fed up with the chaos, the driver snapped and told them all to get off. Trying to restore some order, Wong suggested everyone exchange names and contact details in case they needed to reconnect. One by one, the passengers introduced themselves. After Wong, Shun introduced himself. Then came Jichi, followed by Yuki, the girl who had been texting her boyfriend. Next was the couple Pat and Bobby, then the fortune teller Ying. After that, two friends, Airplane and Gluestick, introduced themselves, followed by Lavina, then Aoyang Y. Finally, Phi introduced himself as Blind Phi. Phi shared his number and walked away. The others exchanged numbers as well. The students with the sick friend ran to the library, hoping to find someone who could help, but the place was empty. While this was going on, Phi asked others where Tuen-Wan was. He said he had missed his stop, but no one offered a solution. There was no transport left. He was told to walk. Yuki, Shun, and Jichi decided to head off together, unsure of what to believe. Shun wonders how they can make a call, but none of it is getting answered. He quietly wondered if they might be the only people left in all of Hong Kong. Yuki gets worried thinking about her boyfriend. Jichi told her that Shun is definitely wrong because he was standing there earlier and it was full of people. Curious and uneasy, Shun searched online for any news updates, but every site was frozen. Nothing had been reported in hours.
CNN, ABC, BBC.
The network was still up, phones rang, but no one ever picked up. Eventually, Yuki said goodbye and chose to head home. Jichi claimed he lived in the same direction, and the two walked off together. As they crossed a bridge, Jichi suddenly froze. He thought he saw someone wearing a mask watching them, but when he looked again, the figure was gone. Then just as quickly, he glimpsed his girlfriend. She too vanished into thin air. Yuki noticed something was off with Jichi and asked if he was alright. He brushed it off, insisting he was fine. But the moment got heavier when Yuki suddenly opened up. Her voice cracked as she confessed everything felt like it was falling apart. She had lost her job that same day. With a heavy heart, she said she needed to find her boyfriend and left. Jichi, moved by her words, decided to go look for his girlfriend too. Elsewhere, the student who had fallen sick on the bus was now in a critical state. When his friends returned to check on him, they were horrified. His body had been scorched beyond recognition. It looks like he had melted. Terrified, they bolted out of the building. Jichi managed to find a bicycle and set off through the eerily quiet streets, determined to reach his girlfriend. The three students, still in shock, sprinted until they reached the highway. Spotting Jiqi riding ahead, they ran after him, pleading for help. But something wasn't right. Their skin was turning red and fast. One of them tried to block Chi's path. Jiqi swerved around him without slowing down. Moments later, all three of them exploded, bodies bursting into the air like a nightmare. Jiqi never stopped. He kept on going. Eventually, he arrived at his girlfriend's place. He got off the bike and sprinted upstairs, only to find it completely deserted. He sat down in silence and noticed everything was dusty. He then started replaying their last call in his mind. Then, out of nowhere, his phone rang. It was her. At the same time, every person who had once been on the bus received a call. But when they answered instead of a voice, they were met with an eerie, deafening sound, unnatural and disturbing. Later, the passengers shared what happened in their group chat, unsettled by the identical experience. The next morning, Yuki woke in her home and began searching for her parents. The house was empty. It even looks like it was abandoned for a while now. When she stepped outside, she unexpectedly ran into Jiqi again. He asked if she was going to a cafe called Chicken Pie Deli. She nods yes, and they walk together. As they walked, Jiqi joked about their situation, saying it felt like a game of hide and seek. He added that it should be recorded in the Guinness Book. Yuki didn't laugh. Instead, she grew frustrated and asked him if he wasn't worried about his family. She told him her entire family had disappeared, yet he was making silly jokes. Then she walked away. Soon, the rest of the former passengers came together at the cafe, trying to make sense of things. None of them had managed to find their family. The driver walks in at that moment, telling them his bus ran out of gas, and he was forced to leave it on the highway. So he walked to the cafe. He also mentions Tai Po felt like a ghost town. He had walked from Quan Phuc Estate to the cafe for over half an hour and hadn't seen a single person. Phi, meanwhile, had no destination, just aimlessly walking, still trying to reach Tsuen Wan. He looks battered and tired. Back at the cafe, the people started to eat. Ying starts telling them about some of her theories. She starts by saying they all are bound by universal laws. They have entered the photon belt, and they are moving from the third dimension into the fourth. The cycle takes a full millennium. The others grew frustrated with her and told her to shut up. Ying tried to argue back, but seeing everyone turn against her, she decided to drop it. Jiqi shared something strange he had witnessed. He spoke of a figure wearing a gas mask standing alone. No one could tell if he had imagined it or if things were about to get worse. He asked Yuki to prove his theory, but she stayed silent. But Yuki seemed confused. She told him she doesn't even live in Taiwo. At that moment, Shun entered the cafe with a sense of urgency, laptop in hand. He gathered everyone's attention and told them he might have figured something out. Opening the device, he played the strange sound they'd all heard during those unsettling phone calls. Everyone thinks the sound is creepy. They discuss who it could have been because all of them received it. Shun wonders what the purpose of the message could be. As they speculate, Pat suggests it could be Blind Faye. Meanwhile, Phi is taking drugs and finally collapses on the ground. Back in the cafe, Yuki nervously recounts the events of yesterday. From what she remembers, she got off the bus alone at Quang Phuc Road. There was no one on the streets. She lives in Uptown Plaza, Tai Po Market. Jichi asks if her boyfriend lives on the Hong Kong side in Wafu Estate. Yuki, shocked, asked how he knew about that. She doesn't remember telling him this at all. He then started telling her what happened from his side. Shun, still focused on the sound, suggested it might be Morse code. He broke it down letter by letter until 4 characters emerged. H-E-L-P. Just then, all their phones began ringing again. Another burst of sound came through, and once more it matched the same rhythm, another Morse message. This time, Shun used a converter to translate his message into Morse code to communicate with whoever was on the other end. He asked who was on the other end. A new message appeared, I am trapped, then another, here am I sitting in a tin can above the world. Suddenly, Jichi hallucinates his girlfriend, but she disappears again. Not long after, a final line arrived. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. One of them, Ao Young-wai, reacted instantly. He recognized the words. When he revealed this, the driver told him to keep quiet, saying Wong should be the one to tell them what is going on. But the phone got disconnected, and Wong doesn't know anything. Ao Young-wai asked if they know David Bowie. None of them knows him, so he decided to sing his song to help them understand what he is talking about. When he was done with the song, he explained that just days before NASA launched Apollo 11, with 3 astronauts, a singer named David Bowie had released a song about an astronaut, Major Tom, who drifts helplessly in space after losing contact with Earth. So I suspected that the messages they were receiving weren't random. Someone, or something, was reaching out from beyond the planet. To distract themselves from the weight of it all, the group began trading stories about how each of them had ended up on that mysterious bus. While Shun was recounting his own experience, the door suddenly burst open. A man, completely engulfed in flames, staggered inside. Chaos erupted. He bolted out into the street and collapsed, still burning. Pat revealed that it is Ao Young-wai. She yells at the others to go and help him. The group rushed outside after him. Glue Stick notices a wanted poster of a woman on the wall and quickly tear it up. Amid the confusion, Jichi spotted the masked figure again. This time, the person didn't vanish, they ran. Without hesitation, Jichi jumped on his bicycle and gave chase. The others followed close behind, determined not to lose him this time. Eventually, they caught up to the masked figure. Jichi and Wong confronted him, pulling off the mask and demanding to know why he was trying to harm them. The man answered in Japanese, and they struggled to make sense of his words. Through rough translation, they gathered that he knew Jichi personally. He claimed they were friends, but Jichi had no memory of him. Without warning, the man escaped and fled. Just before disappearing from sight, he called out one last phrase, also in Japanese. When they translated it, the message was startling. I will save you all. Not far from where he'd stood, they found a woman's body. It was Lavina. No one knew what to make of this or what to do next. Later, back at home, Jichi had a flashback of his girlfriend. The man with the mask was in his flashback too. He abruptly gets up and pulls out a photo. There he found the man with the mask. He was his classmate. The realization hit just as his phone rang. It was his girlfriend. Her voice trembled as she told him she'd been looking for him for years. His mother had died. And according to her, Jichi had gone missing 6 years ago after a massive explosion. Before he could say anything, the call cut off. Jichi broke down, tears falling as the weight of everything hit him, his mother, the years lost, and the lives changed. Meanwhile, back at the cafe, another nightmare unfolded. Bobby gets sick. He walks to Pat, but suddenly begins to melt, just like the sick student earlier. His body collapsed into a tank of water. Pat, devastated, screamed and wept, blaming everyone and everything around her. The room fell silent. The group tried to make sense of it all. They discussed the deaths they already encountered. Jiqi spoke up, sharing what he'd just learned, that they had vanished 6 years ago. He mentioned something his girlfriend had said, a name, Major Tom, an explosion, and a place, Taipo Mountain. Hearing this, the bus driver made up his mind. He decides to get his bus and head toward Taipo alone. The driver finally reached his bus and put gas in it. He then starts his journey to the mountain. Back in the cafe, the others start talking about their background. As he was driving, the driver spotted Phi in the rearview mirror. Phi was on the bus, but he looked sick. Assuming he was infected, the driver panicked and attacked him. After a tense fight, he managed to push Phi off the bus, and he drove on. Back at the cafe, a dark truth surfaced. Gluestick admitted that after Lavina got off the bus, he and Airplane followed her. He confessed Airplane had assaulted her. She died not long after, and strange marks had appeared on her skin. But Airplane didn't stop here. He continued his assault even after she died. Before they could react further, the bus driver returned, visibly shaken, telling them about his encounter with Phi and how his body was showing clear signs of infection. Tensions escalated quickly. The group debated whether Airplane and Gluestick should be thrown out, not only because they'd been near an infected person, but also for what they'd done to Lavina. But throwing them out felt too light. The room grew heavy with rage, and the decision was made they wouldn't let her death go unanswered. They decide to stab Airplane to death. A grim argument broke out over who would take the first step. Eventually, Wong stepped forward and stabbed Airplane. After that, the others followed one by one, each delivering a blow, including Gluestick. Later, Jiqi noticed a poster with the word Fuku on it. The memory clicked. That was the word the Japanese man had spoken. The group pieced it together. Fuku referred to Fukushima, the site of a nuclear power plant. They began to believe there had been a nuclear meltdown. Maybe the mass disappearances were a government attempt to protect people from radiation exposure. Driven by this theory, they all agreed it was time to head to Taipo for answers. Wong insists they should be dressed like the Japanese guy to protect themselves. Pat then suddenly asks what they would do with Bobby. She requested that he gets cremated, but the driver suggested getting the body in and dealing with it later. Shun and Gluestick carried Airplane to the storage fridge, but the body suddenly sprang to life and attacked. Shun tried to reason with him, but seized an opening and struck him. Then the group made a quick stop at a supermarket, gathering whatever protective gear they could find. Masks, gloves, and hospital scrubs. Once everyone was suited up, they boarded the bus. But just as they began their journey, a car started following them. They tried to speed off, but another identical car appeared in front of them. They drive straight to it, and in an attempt to get out of the way, the car crashes. Relief was brief. The previous car comes directly into them. Jiqi, who is currently driving, stopped the bus, and the car crashed into the other car that crashed earlier. Then they keep going. Gluestick shows them the wanted sign he tore off earlier. He revealed it as Lavina. He tells them she stole money from the opera house, but everyone assumed he was lying and kicked him off the bus. But suddenly a car comes and crashes into the bus. Before it could crash with them again, Jiqi drove away, making it crash with the other cars. Shortly after, the rain poured down, deep red like blood. They kept driving. Soon they spotted Phi standing in the middle of the road. The knife that had once been lodged in his shoulder was still there. Against all logic, they let him back on the bus. Then they go back to Gluestick and let him back in the bus. Now together again, they pressed on. As the bus rolled through the desolate streets, silence filled the air. One by one, memories flooded back of normal days, of laughter, of people they'd lost.
開得眼啦，
開得啦。
得啦。
Everyone sat quietly, haunted by the lives they once had, and the world they were now heading toward. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.